Good morning. Sorry I'm late on this video, but I've had doctor's appointments and things. Today was moving day for the quail. They're out in the garage in my 3-tiered unit. And I have 22 quail in each one of the cages. I'm out of breath. All this walking back and forth. I had to do them 20 at a time. Each cage has 22 because we ended up having 66. So it came out evenly. They're still a little crowded, but 90% of these guys are males. So when it comes calling time, it won't be hard to sort what I need. There's quite a few females though, which would be nice. You can probably see the difference in the females and the males now. Females got the speckled breasts and the males have the chestnut colored breasts. This is the first day that they learned to drink out of these little cup feeders, and it didn't take long to figure it out. What I've got is cup feeders are all connected with a hose connected to that bucket. So as long as I keep that bucket full, they'll always have the water they need. Now I promised to get back to some of these questions I've been asked. I got a few this week. Alright, these are the jumbo Coturnic, and somebody's been asking, well, how do you sex the colored quail? Well, you're pretty much doing like a vent sexing, and as these guys get more mature, I'll take and show you how to tell the males from females with, say, a white quail or a tuxedo quail that you can't tell male and female by just looking at them like you can these. Another question was, how long do you boil their eggs? Well, you take and bring the water up to a boil in a quart cooking pan. You place the eggs in the boiling water, but you have to keep stirring the eggs so that they come out evenly. The yolk is in the center of the egg. And you boil them for 4 minutes. Then you go right from the boiling water to an ice bath. Take some ice water and put it in a bowl. Plunge them right into the ice bath. That way they don't stick to the shell as bad and they're easier to peel. Another question was clipping their wings. If you've got them in cages like this and they're not running around the ground or anything like that, you don't need to clip their wings. They're perfectly healthy with their wings attached. Another one was, what incubator do I recommend? Any incubator. As long as you can keep that temperature 99.5 to 100, you'll be able to hatch quail. Another question is, how big is your farm? My farm is not that big. I live in a rural community. I probably own about a 1/4 acre, which isn't very big. I think it's like 150 feet in the front, and it's like 100 feet in the back, and it comes to an angle down one side. So with all the things we do and raise, we do it all on that little 1/4 acre. And that's why we always say at the end of our video, big or small, because we're in a small setup and you could do the same thing. If you don't have any land, you could still raise quail in your garage or alongside your garage in a big cage. They're not that hard. They're really an easy bird to take care of. And they're really friendly too. And the last question I got was, when do you separate by gender? Well, I separate just about 6 weeks old, just before they start into their, if I see them where they're breeding, that's about the time you want to get all the extra males out of the females so they're not beating up the females. I've got a couple of little peewee quail in here. If I can find him. He's about half the size of the rest of them. Oh, he's up there in the top, right there. Just a little tiny feller. He's gonna hide on us. There he goes. You can see how small he is compared to some of the bigger ones. See, the one coming up behind him is about twice his size. But you can see, you get these little drink cups, and like all birds, they can smell the water, and they're attracted to going right for it, so they'll drink out of these cups really easily. What these cups have is like a little yellow trigger in there, and when they hit that trigger, a few droplets of water comes out and fills the bottom of the cup. So they never run out of water that way. And you don't have to keep worrying about them tipping their water over and making a mess in the bottom of the cage. Now with this cage, this used to be one of those cages from a laboratory where they raised rabbits for laboratory use. And I made drawers for the bottom and put them in the sawdust. They're still walking on the wire. And you put the sawdust in there. I'll fix that after. Put the sawdust in there and the droppings go into the sawdust. Keep your cage clean. But I thought you might want to see the update. They're 4 weeks old now, plus a couple of days. I didn't get to do the 4-week update Sunday because I had all the doctor's appointments. Ruthie and I did. So they're almost 5 weeks old. But you can see how big they got. They're very large, and they still got room to grow within a week or two before they're starting to, they'll be laying eggs in probably 2 to 3 weeks, which is kind of hard to believe, but it's true. But you can see they learned to eat or use the drinking cups. And I do still have those feeders with the holes in them. I put one in each cage, and you see there's still quite a bit of room. I've got the tarp around there so that if it gets chilly at night, there's no draft on them. And the way I've got it is I've got some little hooks with rubber bands. And I hook to the wire. That way it pulls the tarp around it. And that side there is a lot longer. That comes way over here, so you only got just a little gap for air so they can get fresh air. And they're not closed in and suffocating. And like I said, I've got these out in the garage now, which makes Mama happy. She gets her office back. And as I build the outside cage, I'll take and put 3 of these cups in a row so that not that they won't take turns drinking out of it, but they won't have to fight over it so much to do so. Right now this cage is only made for probably about 15 to 20 quail in all 3 cages, so 1 cup will be perfect for these guys, but right now they're a little overcrowded, and I got to get ready to start culling all the roosters out of here. And when I pull all the roosters out, I'm going to get a count on my hens and keep all the largest hens for breeders. And I'll keep 1 rooster per 5 hens. And then I get them in the lawn cage, and I can give them their sand bath. They love to dig in the sand. But we'll do that as the weather starts getting better out here. As you can see, we've lost a lot of our snow, which is good. That'll get these guys out in the next week or so outside, so I'll be building the larger cage here pretty quick. That'll make them happier, make me happier, and gets me out in the open. All right, just wanted to show you the update on the 4 weeks. Hopefully by 5 weeks or 6 weeks, they'll all be set in their breeding cages. All right, this is Clay from Popel's Backyard Farm, and reminding you that big or small, you too can be a backyard farm. God bless and goodbye.